What up, everybody? BCON here from Malice Corp. We are coming to you live tonight to Preach on Preacher. We are talking about Season 2, Episode 6, Sokosha. You should have heard us earlier. We were trying to figure out what the word meant, and so we had this Japanese translator, and it was really, really, really funny. So, but let's talk about who's with me, and then we're going to jump right in and talk about the episode. So, with me, as always, she's been by my side through every single episode, SuperWhovianFreak.
Hey, guys, what's going on?
And with us as well, we have someone who looks a little arse face over there. I think that's Mest 5150, but I don't know. He's muted, so. Yeah, I don't know, man. His audio's not coming through, but he looks a little arsey.
Oh man, that is so creepy.
Yeah, I had double mute going. Hello to all the geek enthusiasts and neuroaficionados.
Are you drinking through a straw these days?
Man.
those shotguns are killer.
Yeah, kids, don't use shotguns without parental guidance, please. So Mest had the opportunity to go to Comic-Con, and as we have dubbed him, the swag snagger, got himself an arse face mask. So yeah, I've got the preacher collar, he's got the arse face.
And yeah, this is what they passed out at the panel. So.
That is so crazy.
Leave it up to Seth Rogen. And it was probably his idea. Hey, we should just make everybody have arse faces. That'd be freaking hilarious.
I think it would have been more funny if he would have made everybody put them on at the panel and taken a picture.
Yeah.
That would have been funny. I actually wish he'd done that.
Or if you'd be like, if you're going to ask a question, you need to put on your arse face mask, please.
Oh, no, it's like, I got this thing, and I was like, I know what I'm wearing on Monday.
Well, yeah. A little creepy to look at. It's just as that's coming from the guy that's wearing a preacher outfit. So,
Yeah.
Well, all that to say, welcome this evening. Episode 6. We are, I mean, pretty much halfway there. 13 episodes again in this.
Yeah, 13.
And I they haven't announced it. Wait, I can't remember. I thought we looked it up one week, but I think the season finale is a double feature. So technically, we would be halfway through if it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes sense. So 2-hour finale.
Yeah. Back-to-back episodes, I believe. I could be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. But yeah, so let's jump right in and just talk about the episode. We're going to do what we normally do, which is just talk about what we liked about it, what we have questions about. Mest 5150 is our preacher know-it-all.
Know-it-all, that's a good word. I like that better than expert.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not an expert.
I guess he's our preacher smart arse.
Yeah.
And we may actually have a friend of the show joining us a little bit later. He's watching the very end of the episode right now, so we will get his fresh take on it. But I'll just jump right in. We'll start with Super. What just initial?
Oh, okay. So my favorite, I mean, obviously the ending was phenomenal, but my favorite just overall character moment was when they're all sitting there and they're eating breakfast, and Cassidy is again trying to stir up trouble, and he drops down you were all excited about Layla, weren't you? All over Layla at that club.
Yeah.
And Tulip's just like, okay, who's Layla? And then they're going back and forth, and he's trying to talk about the gun, and he's trying to do too, like, yes, it's good, I helped her. What were you saying? Yes, we've already determined it's good. What? And he's trying to and bounce. And then at the same time, he's hearing I don't know how he heard it, but he heard what was going on in the other room, and he went and investigated the refrigerator of all things. I don't know how he knew what was going on in the fridge, but that was hilarious.
Yeah, and then how Tulip actually cooked an edible meal. That was a note I took. Tulip cooked an edible meal.
Yes. So
one of my straight off the bat favorite parts not favorite parts, but just right off the bat is the first character we see in this episode. Total flashback to Heroes, Ando Masahashi.
Yeah.
I'm like, is
Awesome.
Hiro going to show up in this episode? Because
Oh man,
we
that
could
would
use him.
Yeah.
What about you, Mess? Just initial thoughts, feelings.
I liked the episode. I was a little lost at first because the way it started was something completely different than anything I'm used to from the storyline. So it was giving it a different spin. But I liked the interaction. Actually, my favorite part of it was the race against time for the soul. Just the way that Jesse was like, I need something better, and then all of a sudden it's there, and then trying to blow up the truck and
it didn't work.
Seriously.
Screaming through and the guy's just sitting there. Hey, just So
meanwhile, Ando's reading his book, listening to some classical music there, and not phased at all. Yeah. So in case anybody missed it, it's $1,500 is what you get for 15% of your soul. But they're going to turn around and sell that for $2.7 million. So
holy shit!
So they make it some money. And the name of that company is Soul Happy Go-Go. Soul Happy Go-Go. Yeah.
But it was that scene too when he's on the phone with her. How do you rob a truck? An armored truck? Like, what?
Where are you, Jesse? Trying to rob an armored truck.
Like, this is, I wouldn't be asking this if it weren't important, like.
And then I love how she just starts rattling off what he needs, like some package of Dixie cups, a burner cell phone, some fertilizer.
Well, we all know you always need fertilizer. So
right. He's like, I don't have any of that, but I can get it.
Well, yeah. Once he sees the hardware, that's the funniest thing is when he's telling them that they have to stay with the saint.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have to go get him something. She's like, what? And he's like, a soul. And she's like, can you get it? Or she's like, how are you gonna do that? And he's like, I can get it. And that's what he says, I can get it. Versus when she's telling him get this and this and this, he's like, I don't got that stuff. I can, and then, like, it was easier for him to say, yeah, I can go get a soul than to go
like, get a package of Dixie cups and fertilizer. Yeah.
Run of the mill ingredients.
I did try to use my Google Translate, by the way, to catch what Dennis was saying, and it didn't work. So
no.
So friends of the show, if you're watching out there and you speak French, we would love to know.
I honestly don't think he's saying anything. I think he's just stringing vowels together and putting a French accent on it. I mean, personally, because it just sounds like gibberish, man. And not even my subtitles could pick it up.
Oh,
it was just French gibberish on my screen. I mean,
it could be a certain dialect of French.
Yeah.
Like that.
One we did get an answer to that question about Dennis. Who is Dennis? And strangely enough, it's Cassidy's son. Which
that's so weird.
So weird.
He's a vampire.
I know,
but still,
so weird.
Because I've had hundreds of years, and still never learned French. Something like that. I don't remember what the exact line was, but yeah. Interesting Cassidy moments this episode, I think.
Well, I mean, and even he knows he's a dirtbag because he's like, what
he's had for a father. Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, it's not surprising that he's an angry little Frenchman. You know?
Yeah. It's kind of sad. Kind of sad moment for Dennis.
A little bit. I wonder what they're gonna do with his character. What is he going to serve? Any further relevance to the plot? Is he just there to be something for Cassidy, something to hold over Cassidy, or
exactly?
Yeah.
It's just. I don't think he's going to have anything that's going to be a
major
plot storyline. It's just something to progress the factor of how long Cassidy's been around and
kind of puts things into perspective. How do vampires work in the preacher world?
Completely opposite.
No, what I
Completely
mean is, can he father a child after he becomes a vampire, or does this give us an insight into Cassidy's actual age?
I think you can. From what I
In
remember.
the preacher world, oh well, hell, they did it in Angel, you know.
Because it's complete. There's one of the funniest comics, and it's an offshoot, and it takes place in Louisiana, and it's Cassidy comes across this sect of vampires, and he finds out that they're all goth kids and stuff like that. They're like creatures of the night and stuff, and he's like, "What the hell's wrong with you guys?" And all of them are just humans that want to be vampires, except this one guy that's like totally acting like the I'm Dracula type of thing.
Oh, was it like an episode of South Park there with the vamp kids and the goth?
Yeah, and so he keeps he keeps telling these kids that they're idiots for following this stuff. Like he's like, garlic doesn't do squat. What's with holy water? Isn't it? You know, there's nothing but fire, but sun. That's the only thing that's going to bother you. And he finally finds out that the guy that is a vampire is kind of a poser, and the guy that is a vampire gets mad at Cassidy because he turns all of his subjects into normal, like partying kids doing drugs and drinking. And he's like, "What are you doing to my," you know? And then he finds out
drugs are bad, kids. Drugs are bad.
Yeah, but he finds out this whole time that the guy that was really a vampire that was creating all this stuff. Wasn't actually a good guy or anything. He ends up killing and feeding on all the kids that are part of his thing. And he's like, "Hey, Cassidy, see, we're vampires together. We can." And he's like, "No, that's not what you do." And so he ends up knocking the guy out and tying him to the roof so that when the sun comes up, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he just
Yeah.
burns it.
Nice.
So
nice.
So yeah, that was a whole story that took place within Louisiana in the comics, but it was a complete offshoot from the stuff. But yeah, vampires are completely different. There's no like Cassidy has said before, you can walk into a church. There's no garlic. There's no holy water or anything like that. The only thing that affects you is the sun.
The sunlight, yeah, because they've shown that where he's been hiding under the umbrellas and running under cars
and blood heals all wounds. Blood heals all wounds.
He doesn't eat blood all the time to stay sustained or anything like that.
Clearly not, because he eats human food like Madman.
Yeah. I love the Dennis. Can you help me out with the remote? My fingers are still growing in. That was a pretty intense scene there of him grabbing the sword and holding back the sword so that Saint of Killers couldn't kill Tulip, and his fingers were just shredding off. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, that was so gross.
It was bad. And then the scene where it just pans to the ground and it's just blood and the tops of his fingers, and you're like, "Oh God, dude."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously it's a joke. They're going to grow back, but so if anyone was going to grab it, it was going to be him. But that was wild,
Yeah. And then he's just like, "We got to get Dennis to the hospital." Like, I guess that's the best place for him to get his blood supply, though. So we're okay there.
Yeah, you can feel it from the hospital or whatever. But that was just that was a crazy. I mean, obviously, I think that little girl who led him there, I think she thought she was getting one over on him by taking him to the wrong room. I don't think she put it together that he was going to go on a killing spree and go room to room to room,
Yeah, that kind of was a curious moment of, did she just not know, like really didn't remember, or did she intentionally send him to the wrong place? And
I think she was trying to pull one over on him. I think she thought, I can get away if I lead him to this room, but it's going to be the wrong room. And her little kid brain is thinking, okay, he won't kill the innocents, right? Like they didn't do anything to him.
At all. She saw what he was killing. So,
yeah.
Or did she know? I don't know. Like, did that dude
used to just trying to save her
at some point? Like, I don't know, because the guy had a gun and all that.
No, she was just trying to save herself. She.
Well, then why did she take him to the wrong room? Then why wouldn't you just take him straight to the preacher?
Well, she was looking around and she's like, that one. Like, it wasn't like specified that she knew exactly which room. She just knew which house.
Yeah, I couldn't get a read on one way or the other, whether it was intentional or she just.
I think it was just a factor that if she knew that if she took him, told him that she'd take him where she was, that he wouldn't kill her.
Right.
True that. And now the Saint of Killers is in the bottom of the bayou.
Dude.
Locked in a truck that we know can't have just blown open or anything.
No.
Well, to put a more purposeful point on that, the Saint of Killers is in the bottom of Angelville, which is where Jesse's family lives.
Oh. I didn't make that connection.
I didn't see that either.
It's not connected within the TV show yet, but Angelville.
Oh, remember if you remember, they first got to New Orleans. There's a poster on one of the walls outside one of the jazz bars, and it says Angelville on it. And Jesse kind of trips out when he sees it.
Right. Like so that would be why then, was because that's where his family's from?
His family lives. And you get Jesse's real, well, not his real last name. You get his mother's last name.
I didn't write it down. It was some French Cajun kind of name to it.
His family's French, Cajun French. Yeah. So,
but yeah, that was I saw one of the hashtags trending on Twitter. This episode is now being dubbed the Bulletberry yogurt episode.
Oh, nice.
Because he goes digging in the yogurt.
It's yogurt? I thought it was sour cream.
I don't know, but they think it's yogurt, so they're digging in the yogurt, so they're calling it Bulletberry yogurt.
Well, we decided to hashtag this one, have soul will sell. Hey, friend of the show, Ian, Mr. IC Zorro.
So I get the thing a little bit later. I had to go about 18 minutes behind you guys. Just finished it.
Well, let's get your initial reaction then.
Sure.
Go for it.
Is there any particular aspect you want to? You guys?
No, just jump in. What was your favorite part?
I love it. I love the fact that I love the casting of the cowboy. You know, the Saint of Killers is fantastic. The casting and the not even commentary. It's the costuming. Man, that's perfect. And I love the fact that they're finally getting into the Langell family. You know, Jesse referred to himself as Jesse Langell at one point, and we saw him driving into Angelville, which, man, I can't wait for that.
Well, that's a perfect it's like you were listening to us, because we were literally just talking about him taking the Saint of Killers and dumping him in the bayou, and he's in Angelville. So
now that the Saint of Killers has a tiny fraction of his soul, why didn't he just say something along the lines of, "Wait here until I'm dead"?
Right.
Like, he's gonna get out. You know he's gonna get out.
Yeah. Well, and my thought is that I got to look at the name again. Soul Happy Go-Go. Maybe they have a tracking device on their trucks. They got millions and millions of dollars worth of souls in there. You got to think they probably have some sort of way to track down that truck.
By the way, I think I called that out on our own private.
Yeah. So Endo's gonna get Hiro to transport him to the.
By the way, we haven't said it yet, but Robert is in the chat. And
Robert, hey bud, you haven't looked over there in a while. I'm sorry.
Did you get that thing at Comic-Con? Because that's brilliant.
Oh yes.
Oh, that's wrong.
It's back.
The Saint of Killers doesn't deserve that.
Yeah, we're not gonna say what we're talking about.
Oh dang!
Everything,
folks. If you aren't here for the live chats, you're not seeing what happens in the chat room. So make sure that you're here for when we do these things live, because the seedy, interesting things happen in the chat room.
Like we say, what happens in the chat room stays in the chat room.
Except for it's the internet, so it's everywhere, actually.
Unless I download a copy of the transcript. So where do we want to go next?
So you do think that we're going to see the soul seller, I guess? What was his name? I don't recall. Did they actually say his name? He's just a Japanese.
That's not the main focus. It's who owns the company. If it's
and they never said that, do they?
No.
So is it Airstar that's going to own the company, and that's where we're going to get that connection? You think?
I don't think this is something that's going to be tied to I'm blanking.
To Airstar, no.
Well, not
to the
Airstar,
Grail?
but his society. 'Cause
Well,
that's
It was the
the
Grail.
thing about.
Did you guys watch the preview for next week?
Yes.
Okay,
I
so
listened
next
to
week
it,
we're
I
going to
didn't
get
watch it.
more into the Grail.
Right.
And we see Airstar, right, in the preview.
Mhm.
But the name of the episode is Pig. So I don't there was that connection back to the file that was on Airstar's desk that said Pig from I think it was episode 3, I want to say.
Yeah, the file, right?
Yeah. So there was a file on his desk that said,
Well, what
Yeah,
they state in the trailer is that they are in charge of the false messiahs and stuff like that, the false prophets.
right.
Which that's where our connection is. That's where the Grail really comes into storyline with in the comic book. It's Stars sent to cut Jesse and basically, deny him, and he finds out that this power that he has is actually real, and then he's like, "Ooh, I can use this," and we'll get into that. Yeah.
I'm
So
having a really hard time taking it seriously with that.
yeah, we decided that it was probably Seth Rogen's idea to pass these things out at Comic-Con.
Absolutely. I don't know if we talked about it yet, but I saw that I saw your little chat with him, your question that you asked. That was fantastic, by the way.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we opened up talking a little bit about that we
Sorry, I don't mean to retread.
No. We didn't talk about this specific question, so this is a good time to bring it up. So, and I'll tie it to a conversation I had with Mest before we got on the call here. So Mest was at. Well, you could go ahead and set it up for us, Mest.
What am I setting up?
Your question is Seth Rogen.
It's going to tie more into later seasons and stuff like that, but it's something that we've talked about a couple times, and it's if characters that didn't seem Seth keeps talking about how he's able to get away with stuff doing this show, and it surprises him. He actually said that if it had been done 10 years ago, he wouldn't have been able to do what he's able to do now, that society has regressed so badly that he can do this stuff. That was his exact words.
Yes.
And so my
other
response
shows
to him was,
paved the way,
True.
yeah, well, just he's like, what was considered bad 10 years ago is not considered bad anymore. It's crazy laugh. So,
The subs are turning on me, man. They're turning on me.
So my question
Shows
to
are
him
bad,
was characters that the comic fans would love to see within the show that you look at and go, there's no way these can end up on standard regular television.
But they've done half of that already just in the first season. You're like, there's no way they can put that on TV. Oh wait,
Yeah.
Well, but that's what I meant was
Sometimes,
like
yeah.
Jesus Desaad and the sexual investigators were the ones that I brought up specifically to the point that I even asked Rogen if we got the sexual investigators, I would recommend that him and Franco play them. And
What was
his response?
I love how he played
His response to that was that's too much like real life. So, so he did state that he has a character in mind that he'd like to play. He just wasn't going to say who it was and stuff. So, but yeah, he said that they haven't turned him down from anything yet, and his plans are to do all those characters. So,
Awesome.
the Orgy 11 Jesus Desaad we're probably going to see, and at some point we're probably going to see the sexual investigators.
I would think so. I mean, I've read after the first season. I dove straight into the comics. I read all of them immediately afterwards.
I've been reading the comics since they first came out. So
it was not a property I was familiar with until it came out on AMC. But I immediately read through the entire 5 season roughly arc. And man, just there's so much dark stuff in there. I am astounded that they have been able to get away with what they have so far.
Well, that's one thing I want to really talk about with this episode. Thank you for the love to Steve Dillon for when they were talking about the Santa Killers and showing the actual comic from the stories from behind him.
That was very cool.
I love because Steve Dillon passed away about a couple of years ago. So thank you for putting the actual comic and his artwork in there. That's what got me super excited about this episode was when I saw that. I was like, right on.
Yeah.
So
I like the fact that they tied up. Having the Saint of Killers follow them around for the entire season just wasn't going to work.
No.
Jesse can't be tied up like that. He can't not be able to use, Genesis without somebody shooting at him. So I love the fact that they tied that up a little bit, and the fact that Jesse
A little bit for now.
yeah. But the fact that Jesse was even able to stop him for a few moments just to talk to him, the guy's basically a Terminator, but he slowed him down. He talked to him. He made a deal. I loved that.
Yeah. Tricked him. He tricked him.
Well, sure.
Yeah. He totally tricked him.
well, I don't know. I don't know if he knew that was what was going to cause him to be able to control him. I think it was just he tried it there and it worked, and then he's like, "Oh, okay, now we."
Yeah.
So,
I think he had an idea.
Well,
and
we
it was
haven't
a shot
gotten-
in the dark. I think it was
if
a
it-
shot in the dark.
if they do the story the way that they do the comics, we haven't even gotten to where Jesse even knows. He knows nothing except that he has a power.
Right.
It's not until way later that he actually goes into having to go under hypnosis and trances and stuff to learn what Genesis is and the whole
Right.
story behind Genesis.
Have they?
Yeah.
At this, I don't remember. Have they even discussed where that power came from? How it
No.
originated? Okay, because fun if they get in.
Well,
Nope.
the Angels say something in this first season
Yeah.
about. I don't remember if it was like an angel and a demon.
Yeah, but they just graze upon it. They don't really
Yeah.
go into
Well,
great
yeah,
detail.
Fior. It was Fior, and I always forget. Yeah, they just really kind of gave him a high level overview of what Genesis is. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, they haven't even explained why.
I'll be
The whole tie-in that Genesis has towards God not being in heaven and all. Yeah.
I'll be interested. I'll be interested to see how they interpret the art of the origin of Genesis. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna. I don't know if there's gonna be a lot of clouds and fire and brimstone covering things up and.
Hey, since you were talking about the Saint of Killers artwork in the comic that they were reading in the library, which when you need to go and find out more about your local cowboy killer, go to the library.
Clearly, the Louisiana New Orleans Public Library
has everything. I mean, it's got audiobooks about the Saint of Killers, and
probably
in
just
case,
look it up real quick.
And in case you needed to know about more of like these terrible people, that the name of the book was American Psychopaths, and chapter 58 was for Dick Cheney. So, so.
And this goes back to what Seth Rogen said in response to what I was saying about pushing the envelope. And he said, we threw stuff out there. We didn't know if we'd get away from it. I mean, nobody thought we could say that that Tom Cruise blew up.
Right. Yes.
He's like, and we were able to do it in the first episode. So
amazing.
So they're going to throw every single thing that they can in there.
So good, man. So good. And the audio, I'm a big audiobook fan. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. So as soon as Tulip put it in and put the headphones on, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like, so good.
Yeah.
So freaking good.
Sorry, you got a little nerd boner from her putting on headphones
and listening to an audiobook? Yes.
Yeah, that's funny.
This show.
Do we know what audiobook she was listening to, or was it
Yeah,
just
it was American Psychopaths was the name.
Nice. Appropriate. Highly appropriate.
Yeah, brought to you by Audible. And if you are into Audible, actually go to the website, malice-corp.com. We have a little sign up. You can get 2 free books. Try it out. I love it. I
love audiobooks.
Consistently.
And Robert chimed in about our about the pushing the envelope. Robert said the basic TV and cable shows have been getting away with pushing the limits to compete with HBO and Netflix.
Oh, good call.
Types that are not limited to what their content can be. To case in point with that. So I'm going to go off on a little opposite.
TV and cable shows.
Yeah.
AMC's
AMC's definitely one of those that's
yeah.
I would say FX with Rescue Me was the first one.
FX.
Probably, yeah. Oh
Is
no,
there one?
they had a scene-
USA pushed it
Dennis Leary-
quite a bit.
No,
his wife-
USA depended on the show. I mean,
Yeah.
Burn Notice was like as hardcore as it got for a while. They were so strict with the cast of Psych. Like Psych would want to do certain things, and they would be like, no, 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 no,
comedy-wise,
no, no, no.
but
Yeah,
there was other shows that they were.
No, but seriously, FX like Burn Note or not Burn Notice, Rescue Me, Sons of Anarchy. They pushed some limits there. They got deep, dark drama in there. Like I said,
Well, AMC is definitely one that's willing to let it go. The reason I found that out was at the Walking Dead panel.
oh sure, you get into Comic-Con.
No, the character that plays Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, was talking about what can be said on the show versus what's in the comics.
Sure.
And this transitions over to Preacher as well. And he's like, there ain't no way in hell that I could say what Negan says. He says the F word every other word. You know,
no,
he goes, we're allowed
sparingly.
We're allowed 7 SH words, 1 GD word, 0 Fs. You know, so
Yeah,
they have, but they know what they can push, and that's why we get, you know, the
I
language.
remember when Breaking Bad was ending. It was the episode where Dean, what's his name, his brother-in-law, finally
Pinkman,
got to say
right?
the word.
Jesse Pinkman.
No, it's not Pinkman. It was his brother-in-law, the FDA agent. Trader.
I can't remember his name.
Trader.
But
Agent Trader. But in the episode where he got killed, he actually got to say the F word. Of course, it was muted, but they finally actually got to say it because they got to the end of the series and they're like, you know what? We don't care anymore. This is part of the script now.
What do you guys think with the whole? Because this isn't something that's in the comics with them getting the soul divided between them. That's not
right.
Yeah, and I was going to say that's the conversation you and I had right before this. Is it's kind of cool that we were talking last week about how long can this show go on for? It, you know, can it go for 5 seasons or 6 seasons? I don't know. And with them adding in little plot twists like this, I mean, it really does give them an opportunity to stretch it even further.
Are they going to be linked now?
See, that's why I don't know, because
that's-
this isn't something that's in the comics. So,
It's going to be Game of
but
Thrones
that's
where they have little twists here and there and slightly deviate from the plot that we all know and love, but it also becomes its own thing.
it makes it fresh for new people. But that's the question.
There was the one point where he was about to kill the Saint of Killers, or send him to hell anyway.
Send him hell.
And the Saint of Killers said, "Oh yeah, sure, send me to hell with your little tiny pathetic soul in me." And you could see him think about that, like, "Oh, I didn't think about that."
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is
So he screwed. Yeah, he screwed himself.
if his 1% of soul goes to hell, is his whole entire soul condemned to hell?
I don't know. I don't think he knows. I think that's why he did what he did.
Exactly.
Because why risk it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's easier to, I think he thinks it's easier to deal with him if he's stuck in a truck on the bottom of the bayou. Yeah. Can't do anything about it, you know.
So much to deal with.
Well, I will say this. We do know for the Comic-Con trailer, we do know that the Saint of Killers does end up back in hell at some point during the season because he's there talking to the guards that realized he was gone.
One thing Robert just said, did we read that little blurb from Robert here? The FCC don't let them push the limits. They're out of a job because everyone will just watch the shows that don't have a limit to their content, which is totally true. Like you said, I mean, they're competing with HBO, who's, you know, they've got, I mean, killer shows out right now. But I think AMC and Netflix, of course, yeah. But you know, AMC has
AMC is doing everything they can before
Walking Dead. I mean, they have Into the Badlands, which is got some gruesome killing scenes. Of course, Preacher, which is just more darker on the content, but even some of the cinematography we love every week.
Dead, which is, you know, Walking Dead light,
is got that stuff. Speaking of production design, we do want to give a quick shout out to I'm blanking on his name.
Epic fail there.
I know.
Good.
Keep talking.
It starts with a B. Well, you know what? I'll give a shout out. I'm going to shout out, like you guys were talking about Ando. James
That was
Kyson.
awesome.
We don't see enough of him. I love that actor. Everything I ever see him in, even if it's just bit parts like this, I really hope to see him back in this
And just this little part that he
season.
had there, he had gravity that I didn't.
Yeah, because he
I
was.
just
Because
wanna
I thought it was him, but he looks so clean cut, you know. And
I just want to say the reason we don't see him is because you're not really going to miss him.
what in Preacher or in acting roles.
Go back and watch the episode, Super. That went over your head.
Got lost.
Yeah, I must
got
have missed
lost,
something.
yeah.
I was doing some stuff while I had the episode on.
What did he say every single time that he took a soul from somebody? You're not really going to miss it. You're going to be fine.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
good call.
I get you.
So the shout out, our shout out.
It was his line of the show. He said it
Yes.
Oh,
Our shout out of the week is to Dave Blass, who's actually a production designer on the show, who gave us some love last week when we sent out this episode after show. And we had a quick little back and forth, some of us and him. So we do want to give him a shout out. So, and he was getting some love from Graham McTavish about the romance novel cover him and his team put together. So definitely lots of love to Dave Blass. Thank you for watching the show. Hopefully you get to see this week. We love what you guys do.
we love your work. We're glad you appreciate what we do.
They said it on one of the interviews I saw at Comic-Con, but best show on TV right now, in my opinion. I know we have Game of Thrones, and everybody loves Game of Thrones. Everybody loves, a lot of other shows. But to me, right now, there's nothing like Preacher.
I
on
would
TV
say
right now.
Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, Preacher, Suits. But you have to have the specific taste for that kind of comedy.
Well, if there was nothing like Preacher, then they wouldn't be doing it right, because the comic, there was nothing like Preacher when the comic came out. So
It's so unique. Yeah.
But I like the progression that happened in the episode. It moved the story along a little bit more. It's going to step us into the Grail going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And guys,
Excited for Angelville.
so I don't know what's going on with the next episode. The next episode, you see Air Star and stuff, but it doesn't look like that's the major focus going on. It might be some of the introduction. It looks like
7 episodes into a 10-episode season, so they're
13.
13.
Yeah, 13.
this year. Okay, excellent.
when they introduce Star, if you guys are fans of the comic and have read the comic, when they introduce Star, you will be so grateful and so happy when you see the way that they introduce him, because it is spot on.
Good.
I mean, we've seen him, but when you see his characterization,
Yeah,
it
you
is
went to comic.
Do-
Yeah.
Do we know who's playing him yet? Has that been?
Yeah,
do we
he's
know
been-
who's playing him?
his name's been on has been on the credits every single time. Every time it scrolls
Okay.
by and you see the nipples pierced,
That's
that's
him.
his name.
Yeah.
That's his name.
Gotcha.
That is, and that scene is Air Star as well. So
Okay, makes sense. All right.
So,
Great. Now every time I think of Pierce nipples, I'm going to think of the grill.
so, it is spot on it. It's just when I was watching that trailer for next week, it didn't look like the same thing. Like there was some kind of introduction to Star, but it also looked like there was nightmares or something. I think it was all nightmares with Tulip. That's what I was getting out of it, because
So.
you did bring this up, BCON, with the choking.
Yeah, the last scene of the preview for next week is Santa Killer is grabbing her by the neck, but it's the exact same scene from this episode. So,
But it's not. She turns around at him versus him standing up and picking him up. So I think she's having nightmares. There's her kissing Cassidy. There's her going, Jesse, something's different. Don't you feel it? I think she's having nightmares.
Okay,
I think
That
ahead.
might be with the whole pig thing.
recap shows.
what was that, Ian? Sorry, Ian. Go ahead.
This is my first time on one of the recap shows, so I don't know if you guys have talked about this before, but I freaking love Ruth Negga and Joseph Gilgun as those two characters.
Yes,
Those guys are amazing. Like,
and Dominique. I mean, the whole cast is
yeah, of
spot
course.
on.
Like that goes without saying.
And Graham. I mean, just
But Joseph Gilgun in particular, like I watched Misfits, hilarious when he was Rudy, the guy that had like multiple weird personality twins. This guy is fantastic.
Yes.
You've never seen a more laid back vampire. You don't even pay attention to the fact that he's a vampire most of the time, except the fact that he's randomly guarding himself with an umbrella.
Right.
Like just the little Irish brogue that he throws in there from time to time. I love that so much. Have we talked at all about Tulip's reaction to this episode? Like we didn't see her that much. It followed Jesse for the most part. What do you think Tulip is going to think about the fact that he didn't tell her what was going on, and she just got relegated to, go sit in the kitchen. This guy's going to pick you up by the throat. Sorry, deal with it. Like, I mean, granted, she didn't tell him anything about the New Orleans family connection from the last episode, but how do you think she's going to deal with this particular episode's events?
But that was the first realization of Tulip not knowing Jesse as well as she thinks she does, because she asked, "How do you know all this stuff?" And he's like, "Family history,
family business. It's the family business." Yeah,
he's a little. You can tell he's a little miffed at her still, though, for not sharing about the.
Oh yeah, he threw in that little one-liner about, "Well, I didn't marry her."
Yeah. Their whole relationship is,
which once again, this is all going to come back.
Lack of trust, and
the whole setup for this is all going to come back when they see her with the Grail for the first time. He's going to go, "Lori," and she's going to go, "That's Lori." It's going to be this whole, they're setting all this callback.
Yeah.
Up. So,
Sarah, BCON, what'd you think? Sorry, Super Whovian.
Oh, that's okay. On the episode itself?
Yeah, no, I mean, what did you think about her reaction and her?
I think it's going to be a little bit of a fallout. She's going to be picking at him next week. If she's not, I'm going to be surprised. But she's going to be nagging at him, trying to understand how he knows what he knows. It's not the person to let that kind of stuff lie.
Yeah, but at some point, they don't ever just sit down and talk about things. That's the weirdness of their relationship, is that they don't just figure things out.
No, they
fight. They walk away, and then they almost die, and then they realize, I love you, I almost died, and they come back together, but they don't ever resolve the issues that are there.
Yeah.
So,
and then it's just good.
Yeah, exactly. They don't ever resolve the issues that they have. So I think it's probably going to be just more of the same, of just burying stuff down and putting more on top. I mean, it seems to be their MO. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it was an awesome episode. It's been a great season so far.
It was much more fast-paced than last week.
I was satisfied.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this week.
Feels like we got back to
the impetus
that
comic. Yeah.
Yes, and that kind of edge, that faster pace too, because the first 4 episodes were just like high octane, man.
Ooh,
pedal to the metal.
And then last
episode was really
was just like, it was like molasses.
Was like
I may not have noticed that as much because I had to binge through the first half. I've been doing a full Supernatural from the start.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I've been telling everybody I binge watched. I just finished season 4 of Game of Thrones, so I've 40 episodes in now, 7 days. So,
how are you not drowning in blood yet? between Game of Thrones and Preacher? Because seriously, man.
Maybe I am.
Yeah.
I am.
A ton of knife killing.
Baptism by blood. We're gonna check in with someone's got a. Do we got a buzz going on, or is that just me?
No, I hear it. I don't know what it is though.
We don't have any control going on right now, so I don't know what's going on.
So we're
our master in chief
has some production issues, so we're just talking until we can actually stop. So it's awesome. So the show goes on until we're able to cut off.
Apparently, Robert's hearing it as well.
Yeah, no,
because
for a minute, it's I think it's gone now.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a factor of Jack trying to get back in to get control.
It's
I think
Dottie.
so.
She's sitting at the computer just messing with stuff.
Dottie distortion is distorting things like anything else from the Preacher panel?
Well, what do we? I mean, aside from the actual previews, what are you really looking forward to coming up? Like other than Angelville, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
I don't think Angelville's going to be a big part until next season.
Okay.
I don't know. Just for a personal standpoint, I would like a little bit more Malcolm Barrett.
That's what's going to happen. I think the rest of the now that we've cut off a little bit with Santa Killers, I think majority of it's going to start stepping into the Grail.
Yeah. I mean, but that, like I said, that's just a personal, fangirl.
Yeah, but then once you learn the type of character that Malcolm Barrett is, you're going to be like, what a pushover. What a freaking...
Oh, come on. But he's so cool.
Rufus.
If he plays the same character as in the comic, he's a total just...
Oh, that's okay. I still love the actor. He's still good.
Yes.
No, the right hand man, Feather. I can't remember her name. Featherstone. She's the
singer, right? She's the singer.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Who was cast as that? Who's the actress going to be?
I don't remember who it was. But we saw her in the episode where she was the lounge singer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But that's the actress playing Featherstone, which
blonde bombshell, basically.
Sure.
A funny question to that was, I think somebody asked, what was your favorite scene that you filmed or something like that? And she's like, oh, I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you at the panel.
Right. So it's something cool's coming up with her, probably.
Well, they're going to get more into the Grail. Angelville will start getting more and more kind of hinted in there and teased in there.
That was my favorite backstory of the whole thing. The family he comes from.
Family is just twisted. And it is going to happen because I don't know if he meant to do this, but on the Comic-Con panel, Dominic Cooper said, being raised and being punished by being put into a coffin in the water is just, and I'm like, you just dropped a major storyline.
You think that,
and he just said it like free, and nobody said anything. So
it was an episode or maybe two ago, somebody made some reference to his John Wayne fantasies. Do we think that we're going to see John Wayne?
I haven't seen any of the John Wayne fantasies. All they keep bringing up is who his favorite character is.
It was in Dallas, and in the Dallas episode, the flashbacks with him and Reggie watching John Wayne movies.
Mm-hmm. The very first
Reggie,
season,
by the way.
The very, very, very first season, when they premiered the first episode at WonderCon, everybody got up and asked questions. They asked if the ghost of John Wayne was going to be there, and the showrunner's response to it was, do you want him to be there?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, is the Santa Killer's going to be there? And he'd be like, do you want him to be there? They're basically saying, if you want, they're going to be there. So
why haven't we gotten it yet? Because that was a huge part of the comics.
I think it's not going to come. It's probably not going to come till Angelville. It's not going to come until you start seeing him.
Season 3, you think?
Because that's what ends up helping him get through all that torture.
Well, that's what I'm excited for. Do you think we're going to segue any more into Hell this season?
Oh yes.
Okay, so we're going to get more Eugene.
Yes, we have to. Yeah, that was a big part of the Comic-Con trailer.
Oh,
was showing Eugene and Hitler talking to him and the
Hitler.
it's
the buddy.
That's what I mean.
Sympathetic character.
This is stuff that we don't know what's going to happen with because this was not in the comic.
But that's just, I'm just picturing, it's Hitler and Eugene, the buddy comedies. See what their adventures are in hell. It's just like,
the other one's
so weird.
A mass murderer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One guy tried to save his girlfriend. The other one was responsible for the death of 12 million people.
Well, rather, one just spoke out of turn and made a preacher mad at him.
Yeah. Spoke out of turn, made a preacher mad at him.
I'm so glad
kissed the girl at the wrong time, caused her to blow her brains out,
Oh man. I know I wasn't on the recap for that one, but seeing how Eugene ended up the way he was, that killed me.
That was sad. Because it's like, he's punished to this eternity for really that he doesn't really deserve,
Not even a little.
And it's sad. But now it's sad. It's even sadder to see him changing, obviously, fit in, assimilate, assimilate, like an Dalek voice, basically, or no, assimilate. That's the Cyberman.
Borg.
That's the Cyberman.
I was gonna say more like the Borg. There's,
yeah, that too.
But yeah, I mean, because Jesse had a random, off the cuff, like, go to hell, Eugene, and he just had to. Sucks.
Yep. So it sucks.
We may be talking for a while, guys.
We'll talk until the thing's over. I can chat for a while. I don't know about you guys.
Well, there's
BCON. We don't hear you, BCON. You're muted.
Oh yeah. I got control now, so I didn't realize I muted my mic. So
okay, because it was like I guess the last update we got was there was a lot of updates that were taking.
No, we're good. We are gonna go ahead and give her a wrap though, because we're at 50, almost 51 minutes. So we're gonna run through real quick where you can follow everybody, and then we'll just preview what's coming up for this week for you. So go ahead and kick things off for us, SuperWhovian. Where can we follow you?
Follow me on Twitter at SuperWhovianNut. Some good stuff going on, and what the hell is that?
Oh, vibrating.
I don't know. SuperWhovianNut, yes.
Yes,
SuperWhovianNut.
Oh, Fight Club comes to mind. 9 out of 10 times, it's it's a pager or something, but sometimes it's.
Where can we follow you, IC?
I am at IC Zorro on Twitter. ICZORRO. It's
yeah,
right on. And go ahead, Mest.
You can follow me on Twitter at Mest_MaliceCorp. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Mest5150.
Right on. You can follow the main site at MaliceCorp. You can follow our podcast at MaliceCast, and our other podcast is at Nerd Mosh Pit, which is the Big Papa Matt's cast. He couldn't be on this week, still traveling for Comic-Con, so we're hoping to have him back next week. He's a huge Preacher fan as well.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that I caught up so I can talk to you.
Totally glad that you caught up as well. It's good. The more the merrier at this point. The flock is growing.
Yes.
Wait, who's the shepherd?
The man with the collar.
I love that.
One of you is going to have to dress up as Cassidy, and someone's going to have to dress up as Tulip. So you guys need to get on that.
When I curl my hair, I can pull off Tulip, but
I got ours face covered.
Yeah. We need it more covered.
I thought this was an improvement. I mean,
yeah. So you could. I don't know if I said where you can follow me, but BCON_MaliceCorp on Twitter. Follow. Check out our website, malice-corp.com as well. We got all kinds of stuff kicking off. We've got I know there's a big Doctor Who article that's dropping tomorrow morning from one of our contributors. So he was at Comic-Con, of course. So some good stuff there. We've got some Game of Thrones that is going to happen at some point. I think it's going to end up being tomorrow night. We'll talk episode 2. I'm hoping to be done by next week so I can be caught up with you guys and actually chat, because I'm itching to talk about it, but I'm still.
If you were caught up when you saw last night's episode, you'd really be itching to chat about it. That's why we're going to try and get on here tomorrow night and do a.
And we'll do some game. Some Talking Thrones.
Yes, the talking.
All right, Hardwick.
Yeah, right. Jeez, don't call me that. Come on,
I love that guy.
I'm so much more handsome than he is. And he will never do this. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he would.
Well, yeah,
he probably would, actually.
Dang it.
Yeah, he definitely would. He definitely would.
It would just be on that one set with the brick walls and pictures of the show he's talking about.
I'll admit it's jealousy. So it's totally one of the 7 deadly sins. I understand.
My sin is envy.
But yeah, we definitely appreciate you guys. Also, check us out Friday night, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will have our normal Malice cast. I know Mr. Mest 5150 is going to be at a concert, so I'll have to lead the show again. I don't know who's done more leading the show now.
I got free tickets.
I've been, I think, 3. So
I think, am I catching up on hosting now? I think I might be catching up on you now, Mest.
You've got
4 or 5 now.
4.
It's going to become my show. No.
with the evil hand rub. I loved it. Yeah.
Well, if my work keeps giving me free tickets to concerts, yeah.
Right? Yeah, no kidding there. But hey, we definitely appreciate you all. We definitely want you to have a great night.
Before we head out, just a couple quick plugs.
Please.
Those in the San Diego area, make sure that you check out Sky High Comics. Voted one of the best comic book shops in San Diego. They actually had a vote going on for them, so look that up and you can vote for them. Also, if you're in the Vista area of San Diego, Battle Mage Brewing Company. I've been talking about this place, and I finally went there yesterday. Awesome place. When they bring you flights, the flights are on a cutout like axe.
Battle axe. So cool.
Awesome.
So cool.
Board games are there. They have foosball. They have foosball there. On Sunday nights, they do Game of Thrones live for everybody to sit around and watch. So,
Nice.
and a wall of Magic cards. I mean, the place is awesome, and the beer is really good.
So good.
So definitely
So
check
good.
them out.
Yeah.
And other than that, if you ever are looking to purchase something on Amazon, you want to go through our site to do it.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
If you're ever
Click
in
one of those links,
Central
yeah.
Coast, California,
Mhm.
there's a winery named Sunstone. Good. I work there.
Nice. And if you're in the Treasure Valley area up here in Idaho or in the Pacific Northwest, check out Turbo Comics. It's at Turbo Comics ID on Twitter, and they buy and sell complete collections. So if you're missing something, they will find it for you and get it for
Awesome.
you. So they're real
And then
good
I
dudes.
guess if you're in Moreno Valley, just keep driving because there ain't nothing here. Okay.
And
There's
also,
nothing.
True
Unless
story.
you want- yeah, true story. There's nothing we're sticking around for.
And not just drive fast.
Drive
Okay?
fast.
Drive fast
fast.
Don't drive.
with your doors locked.
It's
Yeah.
hard to do a lot of times in Reno Valley. The traffic gets really backed up.
Oh yeah, dude.
Kind
Yeah,
of
you're screwed.
It's pretty backed up in the Moreno Valley.
It is. It is. Thank you, 215 Freeway. We love you. No, we don't.
Mm-mm. But hey, thank you all again. Until next time, stay nerdy out there and get lost.
Get off. Love you guys.
Night.
Happy I got to sit in.